Hello everyone and welcome back to the Ringside Chat. I'm your host Robby from Major League Eventing, and today we're going to review all the show jumping action and give a send-off to the Tokyo Olympics. Mark Todd, Blythe Tate, David O'Connor, Leslie Law, Heinrich Romeika, and Michael Young. These are all the more recent Olympic champions to come out of the eventing phase, and if you take a look at all those names, all of them belong to men. We can now add Julia Krajewski to the list, and not only to that list, but also as the first official woman Olympic champion for the sport of eventing. While eventing is a sport where both men and women compete as equals, the sport at the Olympic level has been entirely dominated by men in terms of who would win the individual gold medal until today. Julia solidified herself in the eventing and Olympic history by being the only woman to win the individual gold. Julia also did that while beating some very impressive names coming into this competition. We have the names like Andrew Hoy, who just went into his 8th Olympic championship. She beat out the world number 1 rider in Oliver Townend, and she beat the 2-time Olympic champion and teammate Michael Young, who was riding her horse that she had produced, in which he had took over the ride very recently in FRH Chipmunk. After putting together an amazing dressage test to keep her towards the top after the first phase, a beautiful clear, just barely outside the time, cross-country round, and 2 amazing show jump rounds, she is now crowned as the Olympic champion. Show jumping, as always, is a day of great victory for riders, as well as a great defeat for some of them. While some riders shot up the leaderboards, others, like the current world number 1 Oliver Townend, had a heartbreaking end to his Olympic campaign with a few dropped rails in the individual show jumping round. And this is what eventing is all about. Eventing is all about who is the best horse and rider combination. It's not a dressage competition. It's not a cross-country competition. It's not a show jumping competition, but it's a true test of the most well-rounded pair entering in that weekend. And this weekend, that most well-rounded and best pair goes to Julia. And if we look over there, we can see the individual rankings. We have, of course, first place Olympic gold medalist Julia Krajewski finishing on a 26.0. Tom McEwen, who is coming into his first ever Olympics, is walking away with 2 medals, and we'll get to that in a little bit. And he finishes on a 29.3. And then we have Andrew Hoy coming into his 8th Olympic Games, solidifying himself with a bronze medal on a 29.6. Looking over at the team rankings, we have Great Britain coming in with the team gold at 86.2 and is the only winning team to finish with a sub 100 team score coming into the competition, which is something incredible, and they blew that out of the park. In second place, we have Australia finishing on a 100.2. This also gives Andrew Hoy in his 8th Olympic Games 2 medals to walk home to. And coming in on third, we have the 2016 Rio Olympics gold medal team, France, finishing on a 101.5. And rails were a major factor for this course, both the individual and the team, as horses did seem to be pretty tired after the cross-country phase. And with the way that the course was measured out and with how the turns were put into it, riders had to be very deliberate on how they wanted their horse to go. And this course challenged riders to be very bold with either big strides at the expense of balance coming into these jumps, or coming in with a little bit more balance and then risking the time, which the time was also a pretty big factor, but the rails were very, very influential. And this was a very true championship show jumping round, which really tested the overall rideability and the fitness of the horse, as well as the rider's understanding of how to get their horses around clear and inside the time, which was very challenging for even the best of riders. And if we take a look at the eventing manager league that we have for Major League Eventers, we have our top 5 over here. Just listing off our gold medal manager, we have Ashley Baker finishing on a 92.2. Holly Yu takes home the silver for this on a 93.2, and Tyler James with the bronze on a 93.7. And if you haven't already, make sure to join this league. Just because you missed the Tokyo 2020 Olympics doesn't mean that you can't join in on future competitions as well. Use this code here to enter, and there's more events coming up all the time, so definitely get in on the action. I participate in as many of them as I possibly can. It'd be great to see you guys all there. So while the Olympics are now technically over for the eventing discipline, we still have the show jumping competition still to watch for some more equestrian sport action, and I will definitely be watching that because it's always extremely exciting to be able to see all these horses and riders just soar over these massive fences over some very technical courses. And just because the Olympics are also over, and because we did have that 1 year delay, means that we are just one more year closer to the 2022 World Equestrian Games. I'm sure all the teams right now are evaluating all their horses and riders and starting to make those preparations for those teams, and I'm super excited for the next World Equestrian Games. So thanks again for joining in on the Ringside Chat. I'm Robby from Major League Eventing, and I will see you guys next time.